All right, well, we welcome everybody into the first edition of the Ronald Norred Show. We are coming to you from Hoosier Pizza right here in beautiful Brownsburg. Rob Kendall is my name. Thanks for joining us here tonight. And, of course, Hoosier Pizza located at the corner of 136 and Northfield Drive in the Marathon gas station parking lot. Coach, thanks a lot for coming out. Thanks a lot for being a part of the, we couldn't have the show without you, but the Ronald Norred Show.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Talk a little bit about, obviously, your hire had a lot of. By the way, it's cool to have your own show. I mean, you were like at national championship game press conferences and everything like that. Where's having your own show?
I mean, it's pretty cool. I appreciate the opportunity to have my own show. I hope people actually like the show.
Well, and I was going to say, because you've had many moments in your life where you can say, "Look, Ma, I've made it."
Yeah.
But having your own radio show, you're right there with Bob Knight now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good coaches that have their own radio show, so I'm hoping that that brings some good coaching fortune to me.
Why did you decide you wanted to be a high school basketball coach?
I thought the opportunity to come to a great community, where the schools are really good, from top to bottom. I was going to get the opportunity to work with great people and then be a head coach at the same time. That was something I felt like I couldn't pass up. And I know that the year before I came, Brownsburg didn't have the season that they wanted, and the opportunity to come in, work with a group of young guys and try to figure out a way to not only win basketball games, but for those guys to grow as young men and to learn what it means to compete and be a winner was something that I was really attracted to.
You played with some of the best players. You played with guys that are now playing in the NBA. You played with guys that were on a very high level. Has it been hard to adjust down 1 year removed from playing with those sort of guys to have to play with guys that are on the high school level?
You could say that at times, because there's certain times where I want to jump out there and get in and show them what to do, but it's important for them to learn and them to understand, what to do in certain spots. I think, I coached a couple years of AAU with high school players the 2 years before I got the job at Brownsburg. So I kind of knew what high school players were like, how to coach them, how to handle them. And so it hasn't been that big of a transition, but there are times where I'm like, you should have made that pass or you should have caught that pass. And, I really should be saying that to a 6'7" athletic kid that's playing Division I basketball, not a high school kid.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the team, but what do you do during the day? What is your job at the high school?
I'm the freshman academic coach, so I work on the 2016 team, and I get the opportunity to work with struggling students. I keep the academic data for our team as far as our Fs and really trying to figure out how to work with kids to not only just remove an F from their grade, but also help them understand information. So I tutor, I mentor, I teach, I do all of the above at any time.
And you went to Butler. Now, I'm an IU guy, so I had a little easier time getting into IU than you do Butler. Butler is no dummy school.
No.
You have to have very high.
It's pretty difficult to get in, yeah.
Coming from a school like Butler, does that help you relate, or is it harder to relate to your average high school kid because Butler is such an academically respected institution?
Yeah, you are working with pretty high-level academic students on a daily basis, when you're a student at Butler. I think within my education classes that I took, I got the opportunity to work with, students who weren't achieving very high academically. And so that time that I spent in those classrooms at many different schools, I was in IPS, I was in Wayne Township, I was in Lawrence Township, I was in Washington Township. I've worked with a lot of different kind of students that achieve really high, students that, struggle a little bit in school. And so it's given me the opportunity to come to Brownsburg and be able to work with any kind of student as well.
Again, we're visiting with the coach, Ronald Norred. We're at Hoosier Pizza, which is located right at the corner of 136 and Northfield Drive here in Brownsburg. All month long, you buy a 16-inch pizza, they give you a free sub. What a deal.
I'll be buying my pizza here soon.
I know somebody that was in here the other day, they ate for a week on that. So, Coach, obviously, Brownsburg has a fine basketball tradition, going back to the days of Steve Bruins, or they were in the semi-state, 5 or 6 times then. Mm-hmm. Won a state championship with your good friend Gordon Hayward. You weren't stepping in, with all due respect, to a Cascade or a Tri-West. You weren't stepping into one of those programs. Right. Were you a little nervous coming into a program like Brownsburg as your first coaching job?
I wasn't nervous, but there were certain things that I haven't experienced yet. Just not being a head coach, period, minus AAU, which is pretty different from high school coaching, that I was really looking out for, and that I really wanted to be good at right off the bat. And so what made me nervous was maybe missing something in that time. And I had great support from my athletic director, our principal, from our superintendent, from people in the building, from my assistant coach who's been a head coach, one of my assistants who's been a head coach before.
You have one assistant that was a coach for quite a long time.
Yeah. Oh, and another assistant who was a coach for 36 years at the college level.
Yeah.
Between all that support that I've had, it's given me the opportunity to come in, feel comfortable, and just be who I am, be the coach that I think I can be the coach that they think I can be, and try to do what we want to do here at Brownsburg.
It's interesting because you are so young, and it's very rare that I meet someone and I go, wow, that guy's really young. Does it help you relate to the kids? I mean, because you're 4 years removed from being where they were, or 5 years removed.
Yeah, in a way it does. Because I just went through what they went through not too long ago. I was just a high school basketball coach senior, and I was just a high school basketball senior 5 years ago. And so what some of our seniors are going through, realizing, hey, this thing is close to an end. We better step it up. We better lead the younger guys, or a junior understanding, I got to come back another year and be good, or, things going on with their girlfriend or whatever the case. I just went through all that. And so being able to speak to that and help them navigate their way through that, I think has been pretty good because I'm so young.
There's a nice excitement with the program that has not been there for several years. Mm-hmm. That's probably a pretty neat thing for you to know that, hey, really the only thing that's different from one year to the next is you're the guy on the sidelines, and there is this newfound excitement and really newfound attendance back at Brownsburg High School.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think a lot of it wasn't my doing. I think what we achieved at Butler and what we had the opportunity to do at Butler, has a lot to do with it. I got to play with Brownsburg's very own, and he allowed us. He's
tall.
He's pretty tall. He's a little taller than I am.
Well, he's so tall. Like I see him at Walmart sometimes, and I'm a friend of his father, and I will see him, and he's like taller than the aisle.
Yeah,
you can see him from
you can see him through it. Yeah, you can see him through it. But playing with him and the other guys that we play with, and being really on that national stage, and then coming to a community that really loves sports, on top of having a great football season, I think really created some excitement for basketball season. And I'm just fortunate that I got to be a part of that. I think sometimes when change happens, people get excited. And so I think that has a little bit to do with it as well. But, the support that we've had up to this point and the excitement around school, excitement around the community has been fantastic. And, I hope Brownsburg, although we haven't achieved what we want to early, I hope that they continue to support, continue to come out, because this is a great group of kids, and we've really worked hard for our community.
We're visiting with the coach, Ronald Norred. We're at Hoosier Pizza right here in Brownsburg. You can hear the oven in the background. That's how legit we are.
I am hungry.
We are in the center of everything, Coach. The oven is ready. They're delivering all night. They deliver to Brownsburg and Claremont, so your next pizza needs to come from Hoosier Pizza. Mm-hmm. So you get this job. You walk in. And I imagine, like, you're in Brownsburg. I saw you at the 4th of July parade.
Yeah.
And everybody probably wants to talk to you about, hey, what was it like to play for 2 national championships at Butler? How hard has that been to have to continue to I imagine it's sort of like on a level being a rock and roll star. People still want you to play the hit, but you want to coach high school basketball. Yeah. So have you been able to transition out of, hey, I'm the guy that played for 2 national championships, and now I'm the high school basketball coach?
I think so. There are still a lot of people that are interested, and like I said, I'm thankful that they're interested. They want that piece of being a part of it. They were watching or they were a fan for whatever reason. And so it never bothers me, when someone says, what was it like? And to answer that question, I still hadn't completely sunk in yet. So I don't know. I need a couple more. I need about 10 more years to really figure out what it was like. Minus it being a lot of fun. But, people have allowed me to be the basketball coach. People call me coach. People understand that that's what I do now. And they've been pretty supportive from that standpoint as well.
You played for a guy who, just like yourself, relative to the college game, was this really young guy, kind of creative, had some kind of, at the time, goofy ideas on how to coach basketball, all proven correct. How much have you learned from Brad Stevens?
Most of what I've learned has come from him. The thing that I learned the most is that you can be in this profession, which is, coaching basketball can be coaching anything really can be pretty difficult. But he does it the right way. He takes a difficult thing and there's a lot of people around the country that don't do it the right way, and he does it the right way. And I think I learned from him that that's what's most important. And I got the opportunity to spend a lot of time understanding how he prepares. how to effectively communicate with the players. So there's a lot that I learned from him, and I'm thankful for that.
Now, you call him up still? Say, hey, Coach, what do you think?
We talk pretty often. I still attend a lot of Butler games, so I see him after games, but we talk pretty often. I mean, I sent him a text message yesterday asking him about it in a late game situation and what he would do in it. So, I get a lot of advice from him. I'm asking him every now, not all the time, but every now and then, how does this work? What can we do in this situation? Or, whatever the case may be.
Was it a difficult decision to say my playing career, I'm ready to move past that? I mean, you were a very good player. You could have probably, maybe not NBA at this point, but you could have played professionally somewhere. Was that a hard decision to make?
It was not. I knew right in probably in middle of my sophomore, late sophomore, early junior year that when I was done, I was done. When my senior year was over, I was done, and I wanted to coach basketball. And, it's been pretty easy. I still play, me and our coaching staff and some guys around Brownsburg get together on Sunday nights and play, and that's extremely fun for me. There's no pressure. I can go out and throw the ball all around the gym. Nobody's going to scream at me or yell at me. And so I enjoy that. But, coaching is what I wanted to do from the very beginning.
You coached in AAU, as you said, for a couple of years. How did that help you get ready for the high school game?
I think first of all, just coaching high school players, and then going out, through tournaments and understanding how to attack different people, understanding how much you have to think about it every single moment of the game. Like you can't, you tell your players you can't take plays off. Well, a coach can't take plays off either. I can't be thinking about something random. I have to be thinking about what can we do at this time for our team to be successful. And you have to do that for 32 minutes straight. And I honestly didn't realize that when I first got into AAU, but the more that I got into it, the more that I began to understand that.
You're very calm over there. Is that that Brad Stevens effect rubbing off on you?
I think it has a lot to do with it. And I think when you're prepared, and you spend a lot of time with preparation, then you can relax a little bit. Because I think our players understand what to do. Our staff understands what to do. We understand what needs to be done. So I don't have to bark out everything that's going on all the time. I'm not a big screamer anyway. If they do something that makes me scream, then I'll do it. But for the most part, I'm pretty relaxed, and I just try to deliver what we need to do in the right way and say it so that the players understand it, and hopefully that they execute the right way.
You inherited a program that needed a lot of work, and I think it's part of the reason you were a good hire for this program was you are able to attract kids to play basketball. It's one of the problems Brownsburg's had in the past few years is the basketball players have opted to play other sports. Right. Does the record matter this year as you develop this program? I mean, obviously you want to win every game, but are you looking at something else as you head through your first season as a head coach?
I would say yes and no to that question. Yes, it matters because you want to win. You want to instill a winning mentality into your players. You want them to understand what it takes and what it means to win. But no, at the same time, we're 3-8. We have played one of the most difficult schedules in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, you guys were like 14th or 15th in the Sagarin ratings, I noticed.
Very high up there. We've played the current number 2, 3, 4, and 10 teams in 4A. We've competed with all of them but one. And so you look at it and say, our record, we're 3-8. Our record really doesn't matter at this point. What matters is that we are taking every day as an opportunity to get better. The great thing about high school basketball is that you can be 0-20 going into the sectionals and you can win the state championship. So in a way, no, it does not matter. I think our group is doing a great job of competing. I think they're doing a great job of playing hard. I think they're getting better every day. I think they want to get better every day. There's a couple things that we can do better and tweak and make sure we get right so we do win some of those games because we've been close at the end. We just haven't finished. And hopefully through this process they see, when we get to the end, here's what we have to do. Here's what we didn't do at the beginning of the year. Here's what we can do now to be good at the end.
Going to be visiting with the coach, Ronald. We're at Hoosier Pizza right here in Brownsburg, right at the corner of 136 and Northfield Drive here in beautiful Brownsburg. Marathon gas station shopping center. Come in this month, all month, order a 16-inch pizza, you get a free sub. That's like 8 meals you can get right there in one fell swoop. You're a goal-oriented guy. Yeah. I mean, if you set a goal for this program of, hey, within such and such a time, we want to be sectional champ, we want to be conference champ, have you laid that out at least in your head?
No, actually I haven't. There's two things that I want, especially out of this first season. number one, that people that come and watch our games say, man, these guys compete and they play really hard. The whole time. It doesn't matter what the score is. It doesn't matter what the time in the game is. These guys compete and they play really hard. And the second thing is that they play together. I think if people see those two, then we have done our job as a coaching staff, and the players have done their job as players. We want people to embrace this program and enjoy watching guys play. We could have a really good team with a lot of talent, and they come out and they play, to themselves. They try to do things on their own. They take plays off. People don't want to watch that. I don't think our community wants to watch that. Our community wants to see a group of hard-playing players that come together and they play well as a unit. And I think, up to this point, they've done that. And I think if that continues, then we have an opportunity to do some good things towards the end. I'm not necessarily worried about the sectionals. I'm not necessarily worried about, a regional or state championship right now. I think those things take care of itself if you lay your foundation the right way.
Well, let's talk about Friday's game. Let's roll into that. Talk a little bit about the opponent, what they bring to the table, and what you guys are gonna have to do.
Mm-hmm. McCutcheon's 8-5 right now, and they've really done a good job of competing with some pretty good teams. They lost to Noblesville by a small margin. They lost to Kokomo by 1, and Kokomo's 12-1 right now. They're one of the top teams in the state. So we're playing a really good team. I went and watched them play on Saturday night, and they have some guys who can really score. They got a big guy who's really good. He's leading our league in blocks right now. He's one of the top scorers in our league as well. They have a point guard who can really play. They have a couple guys who can really shoot it. So it's going to be another tough game. I think you can look at our schedule and say, hey, well, now you're not playing Ben Davis, you're not playing Pike, you're not playing Carmel, you're not playing Hamilton Southeastern. You can. It gets easier from here, but that's not the case. This is another conference game right now. We're not where we want to be in our conference, so we're going to have to come out and play really well.
You were a guy in college. They showed you film. They said, hey, you're playing Duke this week. Here's the film. As a coach, you have the option to go to the games. I'm sure you trade tapes. Do you like going to the games?
Love it. You can see what you want to see right there. I kind of like knowing a little bit about the team before I go watch them and see if when I watch them in person, it solidifies what I already know about them. So it's nice to be able to go in person and see them.
You're into it.
Yeah.
You're into this.
Yeah, I love it. I love every part of it.
At what point do you develop that mentality, or did you develop that mentality of this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
I knew as a senior in high school that that's what I wanted to do. I didn't know what level or how or when or how it was going to happen, but I knew that I wanted to coach basketball.
Coach, we got about 5 minutes left here with you. You tapped John Grimes to help you out, and we love John. He's a great guy, won a ton of games at the college level. What was that conversation like?
It was like, hey, I haven't been doing this very long. You've been doing this for quite a while. You live in Brownsburg and you live close. How do you think, how do you feel about helping us out? And it took no time for him to say, I'd love to. And he has been great up to this point.
Yeah, he's everywhere. I saw him at the Plainfield game the other night. I saw him in the bank the other day. We talked basketball. The guy just loves basketball.
He loves basketball, and he will go watch any game we need him to watch. He'll go trade film with anybody. Like, he still loves it. He still wants to be a part of it. He still goes 100% at it, and that's – I'm very grateful for that because, as a young guy who's in his first year, there's a lot of things that you don't know. There's a lot of things that I have not experienced at all. He's experienced just about everything. And so the fact that we can have conversations, he can lean over and say, hey, this is what you need to do in this time, or hey, you could have done this better, makes it a lot better for me.
And obviously you have someone who you know very well as your assistant.
Gordon Hayward.
That's right.
Not the player.
It's senior, right? Or
not technically not a senior. They all have different middle names.
Well,
so
I forget where he falls in the lineage, but why did you decide to go that route?
I thought it was important to have someone, first of all, who I knew, who I trusted, and also knows Brownsburg really well. I wanted Brownsburg to be represented within our staff, and I don't think there's anybody. There's a lot of people who represent Brownsburg well, but I think the Haywards have been here. They went to high school here. They've lived here for a long time. I think they represent Brownsburg the way that it should be represented, and so I wanted that as well as his experience on our staff.
Are you pretty happy? Obviously the record you're not happy with, but like I said, I have noticed a tangible difference just in the energy in the gym.
Yeah.
From the student section, from the fans. Are you pretty happy if you were to take this whole first year and say, this is a pretty acceptable first half of the first year?
I think as a coach, you're never really happy. I'm proud of our group right now. I'm proud of the way that they competed. I'm proud of the way they continue to battle every day. I'm proud of the way that they battle in games. There's been times where we could have laid down and quit. but they continue to battle, and we bring excitement to the game. We come back in the game. I still think we have a long way to go. I still think that we have a pretty high potential that we can reach, and so I don't want to be happy yet. I don't want to be satisfied yet. I want to stay proud, but continue to push our group to where we need to go.
Well, Coach, the Twitter universe, you're a Twitter guy.
I love Twitter.
I've heard.
Big-time tweeter.
I've heard you are a Twitter guy. You're more of a Facebook person, but you're a Twitter guy.
I got off Facebook. It's not – I mean, I'm still on there, but it's not as good as Twitter.
Well, that's what I've heard. How do you use Twitter to help you with the gig and with coaching?
I really don't use Twitter for any kind of self-promotion, and I talked to our players about that as well. I use Twitter to pick up our team, to announce when our team is doing something or when we'll be somewhere. Anything that's kind of funny. I feel like sometimes I'm pretty clever, so something will happen and I'll tweet something that I think is funny that probably people don't really laugh at, but I get a kick out of it, so it really doesn't matter.
What's your Twitter handle?
Just Ronald Nord. At Ronald Nord. You can follow me if you want. And then I really use Twitter to get out my faith and share my faith, and I do that a lot, and I feel like that's really important to me, and so I want to share that with everyone else.
Well, Coach, we're absolutely thrilled to have you. The Twitter universe, the school, and the guy that runs the Twitter universe for the school wants this thing to go live. So maybe in a couple weeks we're going to phase into doing this thing
That'd be huge.
live on the net versus podcasting and playing it back. But we're thrilled to have you doing this. I know the folks at Hoosier Pizza are thrilled to have you doing this. Thanks so much. Thanks for being a part of Brownsburg. Yeah. We look forward to having you here for years to come, and best of luck on Friday night.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, this was the coach, Ronald Norred, the Ronald Norred Show. Rob Kendall is my name. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Again, we're at Hoosier Pizza right at the corner of 136 and Northfield Drive in beautiful Brownsburg. Stop in all month long, free sub with the purchase of a 16-inch pizza. Can't beat that. We'll see you next week right here on the Ronald Norred Show.